temporary police move, and neither projects that are up for consideration. I do believe we have members of the police department all here this evening. We had received a letter. Who's speaking on behalf of the police department tonight? Would you come forward? Just so I can hear you, that's all. Thank you. So we were in receipt of your letter, and we would like to see you moved as soon as possible. So is there a plan to move the police department?
That'd be up to the mayor's office, correct?
It would be, yes. I've requested documents. I have yet to see those documents. The mayor's in attendance this evening. Mayor, would you like to step forward?
Sure.
You could put that mic on. Push the button.
I submitted 2 documents, Council President, sorry.
Who did you submit those documents to? I don't have those documents.
I believe I have a copy here. I do. The plan, of course, was to stay under the $3.1 million and not burden the taxpayers with any more money. The way we would do that, the town will become a general contractor. And
Right, Mayor, just to stay on point, and I do understand where you're going with this, but remember, we're only discussing the temporary
Okay,
move.
that's for you then.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you're talking temporary, we did get a price on a trailer
Okay.
for police officers who were worried about any kind of respiratory issues, but they could use that trailer, which would be placed behind.
And do we have a cost estimate?
We did.
We do. And how much does it cost?
$300 a month, I believe. And Robert?
$12,000 for the first year.
Very affordable. We don't need to ask council for any additional funding. I would just need your permission to sign the contract to carry the safe haven for those who are worried about their health issues.
I don't believe that's going to be an issue.
Okay?
I believe we can do that right now. Can we motion?
Yes.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to, please.
I'd like to hear from the lieutenant if that's sufficient enough room for his personnel. If he needs more or less, I mean, I don't know. If you're gonna approve that, you're gonna put them in a place that there's not enough room that's not helping anybody else, other than
Well,
help.
excuse me, Vice President.
We can't
That's
hear
a little
you.
more complicated. That's a little more complicated, and I think that Chief Stetner had met with the trailer contractor.
Yes.
Chief, would you mind explaining?
And Chief, as you approach, I only asked the question because the number I just got was 3. Is that the number I just got?
12,000 per year, 300 per month.
For how many trailers?
That's one.
Right, what's the total number of trailers?
That's the problem.
Well, I think it's a little difficult to speak to without speaking with the bigger picture. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because I met today with the trailer company, finally got them in there where we could sit down and start to design maybe a complex. Unless somebody's gonna tell us where we're putting the complex, I don't know where it's going. It's too big.
So,
To move everything out, we're talking with chief pay, 13 to 14 trailers. He looked at the site we're on now, if it was possible to put it anywhere there. I mean, you gotta take into account, we put it there, where are we parking? Because we're taking up parking. If we put it there, how are we utilizing the parking and then doing something with that building? I know I'm not allowed to talk about that building, but the point is, it's not like we can talk about bits and pieces. We need to sit down and we need to discuss the whole kit and caboodle.
Chief, I don't disagree, but I don't believe that we need to discuss the projects in order to discuss a temporary move.
No, well, respectfully, I disagree. I mean,
I understand.
we were under the understanding, last email I got was that we were going to executive session tonight. The union heads and
We were, okay, in fairness to all of your gentlemen in the room, I felt it would be prudent to hold it in a public session, just so there was transparency. I didn't want anything to linger on the outside.
okay, well,
If you'd like, I could try and pack all 37 guys in the back.
I mean, the guys knew who was going in the executive session. They each union had a representative, along with myself, Mr. Schreck, the mayor, council, naturally. It's not easy to boil down. There's too many moving parts. You know, we move a trailer complex, we got to move a tower, we got to move radio equipment. It's not as simple as it seems. It's not, and I don't know how to explain it until you boil it all down.
Sure, I can understand. And
talking about one without the other, I mean, right now, these gentlemen are under the impression that we're going to move forward with something else. I'm not as confident. We're in Phillipsburg. We move in trailers and we stay in them for 20 years.
That's not gonna happen,
That's what,
chief.
but I'm sure there's a lot of other people who said that too.
Chief,
That's not, I'm not laying that on you
I understand.
or any of you, but we've all seen it. We're in a bad building because we kicked the can for too long. And that's where it lies right now. I mean, that's, you know, we want something to move forward. I'd like to have constructive meetings. I'd love to sit down and go over everything with everyone and try and get to the best spot possible. But this has been going on for way too long. Where do we end? I don't know.
right, so I think we can understand, I do understand your frustration. I want you out too. And so we were all clear, we did vote on that last August, correct?
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, so you did see the email recently, the bond ordinance was not correctly adopted, therefore that 3.
I'm not aware of that.
Okay, so the bond ordinance was not correctly adopted. So the $3.2 million bond was actually
Did I do
negated.
something wrong?
You did nothing, chief, to be honest with you, that happened with us, okay? We can call it a rookie mistake. What we did was on August 7th, we held a, I believe we noticed it incorrectly, would that be correct? I didn't open it up
Well,
for
it got
public discussion.
tabled and then
Right,
the notice
we had asked for
was
your presence in July. You weren't here, then we had, I guess there was Councilwoman DiGirolamo, at the time was Council Vice President, had some questions for you, so we had requested your presence. We were assured by the mayor's office you would be here that evening. You weren't here, I believe you had a baseball game. So then what we did was proceeded in July, and there was members of the PBA here,
August 7th.
August 7th, correct.
Is
So,
national night out.
yes,
Yes.
so August 7th we proceeded, and I just went dark, so I apologize. We voted, we approved. Problem is, we didn't open it up to the public. And the law says that we have to open it up to the public for the adoption. We didn't do that, so we had to open it back up on the 21st for a public hearing. We then adopted it again, but unfortunately, the way the law is written, it was dated the 7th and not the 21st. So we have to go back and reissue that bond ordinance. So that has nothing to do with you. And that is not why any of the projects have stalled, because I didn't know this until
Well, we know
yesterday.
why the project stalled. I mean, the bids came in hot. I mean, we're not.
Right.
I mean, we're
Well,
not
no,
naive to the
correct.
fact.
I just
mean,
don't
it's
want you to
not-
think that it was the reason that it didn't move forward was because of
Well,
3.2.
part of the problem is there's too much chatter behind the scenes, and I'm not saying by any of you. And we're not sitting down and we're not discussing.
Sure.
So until we do that, we're not moving, there's nothing's gonna be done.
So would you agree that we do need to sit down and we do need to
Sooner than
discuss
later.
this?
We should have sat down, I feel like we should have sat down last week, a month ago. I mean, when we got the ball rolling with this, I was looking forward to a meeting last week, but we couldn't get one. You know what I mean? Like,
Listen, I'm gonna be quite honest, from the union standpoint, nobody's cared about us. And I'll tell you all that, I'll tell him that. We sat in that building for 2 years. Nobody moved us out. Nobody cared until I sent a letter. That's the first time somebody communicated with me. That's the first time somebody communicated with the union. Unfortunately, we were patient because we thought there was gonna be a plan. The plan did not come, okay? We've been in a building that everybody else has been very cordially moved out, very cordial. We've had guys go and fill workers' comp claims out. You and I discussed this. We talked about how maybe there should be 36. Those individuals haven't even seen doctors, okay? So workers' comp hasn't even taken our guys who are sick into account and had them go see a doctor. So we're at a point where if you don't think it is true, nobody's talking to us.
Right.
Nobody's made a move to get us out of a facility until now, okay? And I appreciate what you did. As soon as I communicated, I said to you, Bobby, you immediately got back to me, and I appreciate that. Same with you, Mr. McVeigh. The problem is this. For 2 years, nobody cared about us. They cared about the rest of the town employees. They cared about the court, got them out. But we sat in a building with mold, and then every time we think something good is gonna happen, it gets stalled. The bond ordinance, okay, somebody made a mistake, you admit it.
I will take full responsibility.
But the reality is, how hard is it to reissue a bond?
In this case,
How hard?
so it's not hard to reissue the bond, but it's hard to find out where the money, we don't have the money.
So why are we doing this in a public meeting when we can sit down and just talk in an executive session? That's the last email I got, we were gonna have an executive session. That's why I took the time out to come here tonight. If we're gonna just banter back and forth about our complaints, your complaints, and if you're not gonna give us like educated, insightful guidelines to work within, then we're just wasting everybody's
Well, I
time.
don't want you to think this was a disrespectful act, but this.
No, it's not a disrespectful act, but I thought, the email you sent me is, we're gonna be in executive session, so we can sit down and talk, don't we?
Right. And then I had received an email back from the mayor telling me that I wasn't in charge, so.
Well, listen, you make the council meetings, right? So, executive
I like
session, let's
things
sit down, let's sit down and talk.
So if you're willing to sit in an executive session. this
Absolutely.
evening, I have no problem doing that, because last thing I want to do is waste your time. But I did want every one of your officers to be aware that,
They agreed to, not to cut you off, Bob, they agreed to allow us, the union presidents or persons of that status, to come in and meet. The rest of the guys are just gonna wait patiently by and find out what you have.
John, I can assure you, and I don't know if you mind, do you want me to call you lieutenant or John?
No, call me John.
John, I can assure you that prior to us being elected in 2017, one of the very first things we did say was we needed to get the police department out. That's on record. I don't want you to think, and unfortunately, you haven't been privy to that.
Well,
Right.
but the reality is, we're still there.
Correct.
And nobody's gotten us out, and nobody's made a point. We're having air quality tests, we're having this, that, the other thing, but we're still in the same facility, and everything was supposedly, and in my email to you,
I understand.
everything was supposed to go positive. The plans, whatever they were with the armory, they faltered, they failed, whatever the reason. But the reality is, we're still there, and nobody got us out. And nobody made an honest effort from the start to get us out when everybody else left. The court left, like I explained in my email, the court left first. And the rest of the town left. We had council members not coming in the building, none of you, but other council members that are no longer sitting in, they would not come in and get their email. Their mail, their packets. They were handing stuff through windows. I watched it. But we're still in there? Seriously?
I agree. I agree.
I have no problem. Let's go to executive session. Let's talk about this.
I would like to-
Let's hash it out.
I would like to do that, if possible, if it's okay with council. I'd like the motion to move into an executive session with the police to discuss this matter. As matters of,
The contractual negotiations, also property acquisition, we don't know what we're talking about.
well, we promised them that we would do it.
No, I understand that, but I just like to clear something up. For 2 years, John, every executive session that I've been at, I said, let's get these guys out. I've been saying that from the very beginning. Even when the old administration was here, I said, we gotta get them out. But in reality, it's not our problem, it's the mayor's problem. He's the one that has to come with us with costs. He's the one that has to come with us for anything, because he just said, Bobby's not the boss. Okay? This is council. He has to come to us first and then say, well, this is what I want to do. And it's up to us to agree or not to agree. I mean,
I believe you. But the reality is this. That party line and this party line are not working together.
Oh,
To accomplish a goal for us.
you're right. You're 100% right.
And at the end of the day, if we can't sit down and discuss what's best for your town employees, your police department, then why are we even here? We need to sit at a table collectively together, and we need to sit at a table collectively together and come up with a plan. He brought me over to Mr. Schreck's office, we sat there, we went over his plan, okay? I won't say what it is, because we're not allowed to discuss things, but we went over his plan. It seemed very reasonable to us, it seemed very feasible to us. He gave me very clear-cut timelines that he could work within, but we're still in the same spot. First
We
base.
know nothing about it.
I do. I do.
You do.
I am aware of it, yes. That is one thing I will not lay a hand to anyone else. I am aware of what Mr. Schreck and everyone has spoken about because of my conversation with John. One thing I will say is this probably would be best for executive session at this point because I cannot discuss those funds. We can't discuss that currently. Would you agree, Mayor?
Oh, sure. Executive session.
So, with that being said, I really hate to leave the police all standing here.
They can stay. They're fine with it. They understand that. They appointed the people, correct?
Executive session, get them out of here. Get them out of the building. I mean, come on, we already got the rest of the people. Get these guys out, sorry.
I understand. And trust me, we want to get them out, so we will move to an executive session. Motion.
Council President.
Council President, is there any thoughts on the action?
I would rather move to the executive session and just move. We do have open time this evening. I don't anticipate action, but, well, let's say action may be taken.
Just prior to taking action, Council President, since it is on the agenda, I would ask that we give the public a chance to provide their input prior to taking any action until
Yes. So you would rather have that public discuss it now?
we can go talk, but as long as they have a chance to weigh in.
I would like the public to weigh in, yes. Motion to executive session.
So moved.
So moved. We go off.
Second.
All in favor? Fix it.
Motion to reconvene, and I get a second?
Second.
Okay, folks, there will be no action taken immediately coming out of the executive session. Therefore, we can roll call.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman DeGirolamo? Yes. Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman Vice President McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Fulmer?
Yes, now open it up to the floor for public comment on agenda items. That includes the discussion regarding the temporary police move. So if someone does have something to say, they're more than welcome. Yeah, thank you. Council President, how are you?
Thank you, Council.
Mike,
On the bottom, bottom. All the way on the bottom, bottom. There you go. Bottom.
I'm going to give him a mic. Take the mayor's mic.
Thank you, Vicky. Yes, thank you for having me tonight. For the record, when I was, just heard that we...
Your name and address for the record.
Todd Entersigny, 378 Grant Street, Apartment 2, Phillipsburg.
Thank you.
For the record, about getting them out of that is totally false. We had bipartisan support. I went to a meeting at Warren County Community College. I was present there with Councilman Josh Davis. We had a deal together within 20 minutes that I think it was like $8,000 a month, and they were going to pay our electric bill. And I believe I had support from the other bipartisan support on that particular.
You're referring to Councilman Lutz, right?
Councilman Lutz, right. And we had an agreement that there was plenty. They said that there was no room. The building was totally vacant. The school board moved out. Like I said, Councilman Davis was there and agreed that that was the best choice. They said there was no parking. There was spots for 200 spots across the street. They made up every excuse not to go in there. It would have fit. They said it was too small. It could have got done within 30 days, and the mayor put the caboose to it and said it wasn't feasible. So I want you to say, for the record, that the previous administration did want to get them, and I did have actual support from Councilman Randy Piazza as well. So for the record, I want to, and I know it's true, that to say that we did not want to get them out of there is a complete falsehood, and the previous administration had an agreement within 20 minutes what the contract was, and it was put to a caboose because it was my idea. And it was, and who is the CEO of the town was Mayor Ellis. So we did want to get them out of there. And I know it for a fact, and people know me to have a pretty good memory. So I just want to say that for the record. And they would have been out of there a long time ago. And there was plenty of room in that building. And Will Austin, the president of the community college, was bent over backwards for the town of Phillipsburg. And Councilman Davis cannot deny that. He was there that day. And I just want to say that for the record. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council President. Is there anyone else?